So in ancient times, I mean like in the Vedas, it talk about times that have, or events that have taken place, not only on this planet or this universe, but on other universes as well. And sometimes we might just sort of think, oh yeah, right, you know, I can't imagine that, you know. We have a hard enough time just trying to deal with our little life in Adelaide, you know. But the Vedas have immense information about, since time immemorial. And there was a tyrant by the name of Hiranyakashipu, and described how he controlled not only this universe, it describes how he controlled the 3 planetary systems. So there's upper planetary systems, there's middle planetary systems, and Earth is in the middle planetary system, and there's lower planetary systems. And he was so immensely powerful, incredibly powerful mystic, yogi, and he was really evil, very cruel. And he had a young child. And like I was explaining yesterday, when we come into this world, we've all come with luggage, baggage, but we all come with whatever progress we've made, spiritually speaking, whatever we've made in the past, we bring that with us. That's never lost. Krishna arranges so whatever material things you gain, whatever skills and stuff, they're gone when you leave your body at the time of death. But whatever spiritual assets, whatever wisdom you've gained, that stays with the living entity. Because when we travel, when the soul travels, it's also covered by the mind, but the spiritual wisdom is within the heart, so that travels with a person. And so there is a great saint called Narada Muni, and this evil tyrant had a really nice wife, a saintly wife. And when she was pregnant, she was taken captive. And so the small boy, his name was Prahlad, when he was in the womb, he heard instructions from this great sage, Narada Muni. So I'm not sure at what age children can hear, but they can hear, babies can hear in the womb. And so he heard spiritual instruction, and when he was born, he already carried with him what he'd gained, and also from previous time as well. And his father was really was into control, and to see friends and enemies. He didn't see with equal vision. Again, the Sri Upanishad, it describes that we should see with equal vision. You know, everybody, equal vision. Not this person's high, this person's low, you know, whatever, like equal vision. But that's not what his father was about. Hiranyakashipu was about power, and you know, a lot of people were his enemies. And he kind of got off on that, you know, it's like, I'm so big and strong and stuff. And so his son was a devotee of Krishna. And when he was at school, he would encourage his friends to chant and to not be into the political thing, because that, you know, like even in modern times, actually, the royal family have changed it in the last couple of generations, but royal family would be taught by tutors, right? And there would be other royal family members that would all do school together by a tutor. So this is an ancient system, and so, you know, he was taught by tutors, and there was other kids of royal families there as well, and so he would teach them all to chant instead of worrying about, you know, their studies. And his father went to ask him, you know, like, what have you learnt in school? And he said, nothing of any value, my dear father. Actually said, my dear demoniac father. I haven't learned anything of any value at school. And you know, his father was really upset by that. And in due course of time, Prahlad had a lot of influence, and so his father became even more enraged. And he decided to kill his son, because his son was a devotee of God, and he wanted, you know, say, there's no God, you know, I'm God. You know, where is this God? I don't believe in God, only me, you know. And so he tried to kill his young son. And he tried in various different ways. You know, tried to poison him and have snakes attack him and throw him off a cliff, just like all sorts of stuff. But nothing ever hurt Prahlad. And so he said to him one day, like, where do you get your power from that I can't kill you? You're just a little boy and I'm so powerful. And he said, same place you do, Father, from God. It was like, God? It was just like totally enraged, God. You know, and there's people that in society nowadays, like the idea of God, it's just like red flag to a bull, you know, it's like God, you know, like, why do you bring God into anything, you know? And so he was even, you know, his father was even more demoniac than that. It was like, you know, there's no God except me. And he said, where is this God of yours, you know? And he said, it's everywhere. And so we have, no matter where we are, no matter what situation we're in, no matter which planet we're on, whatever body we've got on, God is everywhere. He's within our heart. He's within every atom. And he can do anything. And we have a hard time accepting, you know, like, I can't imagine anybody has that kind of power. You know, like you say, we have a hard enough time just trying to organise our household scene and our finances and our, do you know what I mean, just our social calendars and whatever, you know. And so, you know, it's kind of like, it's inconceivable that somebody could have immense power. And that, you know, but if we look around, it's like there's so many different unbelievable forms of life even. You know, they've all been created by somebody. They don't just appear, even though Darwin suggested they did. You know, they don't just appear. Living entities are, so I've got a quote to read. All living entities, all the varieties of living entities are just a tiny fraction of the energy of God. And so for us, the great sages, the great saints tell us that the way we will be happy is if we connect again, us, the spirit soul, if we connect again in a loving relationship with that supreme soul who's within the core of our heart, but he's also everywhere. You know, he's within, we can't be separated from God at any time. You know, we can choose to be separated, you know, not be aware, but we actually are never separated because he's right there in the core of our heart. You know, we can deny his existence, doesn't make any difference. You know, I can say black is white and white is black, it doesn't make any difference. I'm just a little person on this planet, you know. We were up at Morialta, was it last week or something, a couple of weeks ago, and we were up quite high, and across the, what do you call it, the gorge, you know, on the other side, you could see this little speck. It was a person, right? Just a little speck in the bush or on the path, but it's just like covered in forest, you know. And it's like, we're just tiny, you know, and we're still going, I think my opinion's right, and, you know, I don't see God, I can't see him with my eyes, so he doesn't exist, or, you know, in my opinion, he must be like this, or he wouldn't be like that, or he wouldn't be able to do this, or, do you remember we have our opinion, but it actually doesn't change reality. And so the great sages, they introduce us to Krishna, they introduce us to God. In any kind of spiritual tradition, the great teachers have always, the basic teaching is, you're not this body, you're the soul within this body, you're the living being within this body. And that our natural position, our natural condition of happiness is to be resituated in a loving relationship with the Supreme Soul. Right? And that is where we'll find our security, we'll find our peace, and we'll find our happiness. Now, Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita to enlighten us and give us basically a guidebook for us in our life. And he described some of his qualities. And he said in chapter 10, I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who know this perfectly engage in my devotional service or bhakti yoga and worship me with all their hearts. And furthermore, O Arjuna, I am the generating seed of all existence. There is no being, moving or unmoving, that can exist without me. So we always have a choice whether we want to come to know that Supreme Person in our heart. We have a choice whether we want to use our life to come to know Him and to be pleasing to Him and to simultaneously experience His unconditional love for us, and then we will be able to love others unconditionally. We won't be looking at a person as just whatever personality they have on at the moment, but actually see beyond that and see the person inside, the soul within, and within the soul, within this body, next to the soul is an expansion of the Supreme Soul. He's always there as a friend, waiting for us, willing for us to turn to Him, to come to know Him, to re-establish that loving relationship. So we don't want to be like Hiranyakashipu. You know, not anybody here is like a tyrant. But, you know, deny the existence of the Supreme Soul. I mean, sometimes people will talk about, you know, put it out there to the universe, you know, want something to happen, you know. The universe is like impersonal. What we're really doing is kind of, you know, asking, God, please step in and help. Do you know what I mean? It's a person we ask for help. We don't ask the air, you know, to help. We ask a person, and God is the Supreme Person. And so, you know, He's there, He is wanting us to have a relationship, and, you know, He's encouraging us, don't be like Hiranyakashipu, be like Prahlad, soft in the core of our heart, full of faith that God will protect us, He will give us the security and the happiness that we seek, because that's our nature, it's the nature of the soul. So today is actually the celebration day of the appearance of Lord Nrsimha, who's an expansion of God. And this is when this story played out. And so I thought it's a really good time to share this story. And so if you know, any time when we're kind of thinking, well, I don't think God could be like this, or I don't think He could be like that, it's important that we remember our smallness. We can't even figure out what's going on in our stomach. You know, sometimes, you know, you might go to a restaurant and you eat something and afterwards you're kind of like, oh, I've got a sore tummy. You know, we can't even, it's not like we can even go, okay, I'm going to fix that. You know, I'm just going to think, you know, positively and not going to have any problem with my tummy, you know. It's like we're just small. We're small beings. And we need protection. We need shelter. We need love. And we need to share our love with each other. Thank you so much.